This one angered people as well online. So this is Spider-Man coming to Marvel's Avengers exclusively on PlayStation. So we have the article here from Jeff Adams, the associate. So the beginning of this is Jeff Adams, the associate art director of Crystal Dynamics, on the PlayStation blog. It's never been a better time to be a Spider-Man fan. The team at Crystal Dynamics, along with our partners, are overjoyed that we get to be a part of this hero's gaming journey. We can't wait for you to add Spider-Man to your Marvel's Avengers roster in early 2021, and as we've promised before, he will be available at no additional cost to owners of the base game exclusively on PlayStation. PlayStation players will get the chance to acquire exclusive skins and other cosmetics for characters in the game for 1 month before PC and Xbox users. PlayStation players will also get a special access to certain community challenges. New heroes will come with a unique bundle, including one free skin and some currency. And Marvel's Avengers launches on PS4 and next gen September 4th for 2020. Calum, did this rub you the wrong way when they announced this exclusivity deal? I thought this was, if they're going to do it, it was going to be in line with what they announced here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. I think the fact that you can only play as Spider-Man on PlayStation is pretty terrible. And I just hate all of this, like exclusive skins, cosmetics, and all this like bundles, one free skin, some currency. I just hate all of that. It's making what looks like an already terrible game sound even worse. I just honestly like have no care about this game in any way. And I think this is just a really horrible practice to have as well. And you can see how much it's really bothering people who don't have PlayStations, because I mean, as awful as the game does look, I mean, Marvel has a huge audience and people are going to play it. And, that's really rubbed some people the wrong way. If you have an Xbox and you really love Marvel games and you're going to hear that you're going to be buying the exact same game, but you're going to be treated lesser than somebody on a different platform, it's just ridiculous. I mean, they're not going to be paying any less money. They're paying the exact same amount of money for that game, and they're getting a worse game for it. They're getting a game with one less character in it. I mean, the cosmetics and all that with the month, whatever, that's all right, because it's not all right, but you'll eventually get it anyway. So it's scummy, but you can get over it. But to not have an entire character for a game you're spending the same amount of money on it's just ridiculous. And it doesn't help that the game does look awful anyway. So I'm just have nothing but negativity against this
Yeah.
game.
Well, let's see. Before we get into like the whole exclusivity thing, I was on the same page with you with it looking awful. But recently, I want to say last week, they put out a pretty in-depth video, Crystal Dynamics, about the beta that they're launching. They do show off a lot of the gameplay, a lot of the content. It doesn't look as bad as I thought before. Like, it actually looks fun. I don't know if it's worth, that full price for me right off the get-go, but it does look fun. It is more of like this Destiny kind of multiplayer gameplay, and I guess I prefer something more like Spider-Man where it's just single-player focused. But the gameplay doesn't look as bad as I thought before. It looks pretty fun. It looks like it's a good time to play with friends. I like how you can customize everything and all the different abilities you can obtain, and it just looks very actiony, almost like the heroes, or there was another Marvel game where it was just like a four player co-op where it was really just like off the rails, just actiony. But this one, yeah, I think I'm more positive on it after that video they put out. At the same time, yeah, I still have fears. I'm not going to jump in day one because I think that they're going to have to work some kinks out, if not with the servers, but actually like tweaking the gameplay. So I'm a bit more positive on it. But when I saw this news article about them going exclusive, I kind of figured that was going to be the case. I mean, Sony still owns the rights to like the movie part of Sony of Spider-Man, like the actual when it comes to his movie rights, they own that still. I guess that still transcends to video game coverage as well. So I guess it made more sense to me that Sony would still play that card and go, okay, he's only going to be on PlayStation because we own the rights to him. I guess I wasn't really bothered at it because I don't know, it just seemed like that's the way it was going to go. So this one didn't really upset me. I just thought, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. And maybe it's because I'm in that PlayStation ecosystem, it doesn't affect me at all. But I can see why people would be angry. But it seems like these console manufacturers, I mean, they make deals to get you to buy their thing, and it's really only kind of a newer situation where Xbox is kind of pushing that narrative where they're trying to make sure that everything's playable everywhere and be as consumer friendly as possible. And PlayStation really hasn't been that way for a long time. Even with Fortnite, they're kind of dragged by the heels to make sure that was crossplay. And now a lot of games are crossplay, but PlayStation really, I think if they would prefer to not have that. This kind of made more sense that it was going this direction, but I do understand how people would be upset about it.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between like having a game that you cannot play on one platform and a game that you can play on the other. I think that kind of exclusivity is fine because, you know, if you have an Xbox, you want to play Last of Us 2, you're not out of pocket because of it. You're not, you know, the only thing there is you can't play it unless you have a PlayStation. This, however, you if you have a PlayStation and an Xbox, you'll pay £60 for the same game on both platforms, but one game on one platform will have more content in it than the other. And I don't know, I just feel like it's just very scummy. Like, it's really, because people are paying their money to play this game and they're getting a worse game with less content in it simply because they're playing on a different platform. And it's not like you can spend an extra £10 or an extra £20 to get digital deluxe and get these things in it. You're just simply locked out from that extra content completely. And like I said, you're still paying for the game. So yeah, I just think from like the people who are making this game's perspective, like from Crystal Dynamics, I know it'll probably be a big all down to licensing and everything, so it's probably not a lot they can do, but I would feel awful. You know, if I was making a game and only half of my audience are going to be experiencing it with all of the characters we've made for it, I'd be mortified. So yeah, I mean, like you said, I think, you know, if one thing's okay, then everything should be, kind of thing. But I don't know. I think sometimes you just have to think about the things that they have to think about the things they're doing, because, like I said, there's one thing having exclusive games, but to have a game that you can buy, it's just worse than somewhere else. It sounds like something from like a comedy sketch. Like, it's just, I just don't know how that is a feasible thing at all. But yeah, I mean, I don't really mind. I played it at Gamescom last year, Avengers, and yeah, and it looked nice, but yeah, it was just exactly how it looks in the trailers. Like, it's just Batman Arkham Asylum style combat, and that's it. And you're playing as Thor or whatever. And yeah, it's. I mean, I'm not as like annoyed as most people are about it, but I can completely understand why people would be, and I can completely see that. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I might be slightly biased because I think the game is just bad anyway. But yeah, it's just not good practice. Very shady, very scummy.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, you're definitely not wrong that it isn't very consumer friendly, especially since like this game, I think you could argue that it's going to be advertised towards a younger crowd and they're not going to know what the hell's going on. So when they see their friends playing or hear that their friends playing Spider-Man and they go to play it on Xbox and they go, hey, how come I can't get Spider-Man? And they're just not going to know what's going on. So it's going to rub them the wrong way. So you might sell or get more people buying a PlayStation, I guess, to play this on just to play Spider-Man, but at the same time I think you're really turning off the base and it's not helping you, and so you're not earning fans by doing this. So I think maybe they should take the loss and just I guess the loss they perceive and just have Spider-Man on there, because it just, you know, helps out their fan base. But yeah, it is a negative, and it's really only, I think it's maybe legal stuff that's, you know, that Sony's wrapped up in with Spider-Man, but it doesn't help out the consumers at all.
Yeah, because it's like you're saying about Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I mean, there was a third one of them that's just come out on Nintendo Switch, and that's got Spider-Man on it. And yeah, I think it's and that you got the Lego games, which have all got Spider-Man in them. Yeah, I just feel like it's really dodgy practice, and yeah, I just feel I genuinely like feel bad for people who, especially like little kids who have an Xbox, and you know, they're like, oh, this new Marvel Avengers game's coming out, I'm gonna get to play as Spider-Man because they've seen it in the trailers or whatever, and like you said, they don't understand, and then so they get this game and they can't play as Spider-Man, like, even though they've seen you being able to. It's just, And it's different. I remember when Soul Calibur came out on PS3 and 360. One of them you could on PlayStation you could play as Darth Vader, or on Xbox you could play as Yoda. But at least like each person's getting something exclusive. If the Xbox community got another superhero or something in place of Spider-Man, it'd still be a bit weird, but at least they're still getting the same amount of content. They're still getting something. And yeah, it's just it just it reflects extremely badly on all parties involved.
Yeah, you're right. There's been a lot of comparisons with the Soul Calibur series because they have had console exclusive characters, but it was across the board. Everyone had their special character, like Xbox had Spawn and one of the earlier ones. So yeah, I mean they've done that, but this is not the same case. I guess it would be extra sketchy too if as a kid you're playing it and you're playing maybe with a buddy who has Spider-Man. And it tells you, hey kid, if you want, you can pay $5 extra and you get Spider-Man here. Like you press of a button, or it sends you to a link to buy a PlayStation 4 or whatever. Like that'd be extra sketchy too. But I wouldn't put that past them because I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. That's pretty much what they've done, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like you're paying 50 quid for a game, and then you're going, oh, I can't play as Spider-Man, but how come I saw him? And then you see, oh, I have to buy a PS4, then buy this game I've just bought again. And yeah, it's just really, really weird. I don't like it at all. I'm just looking forward to it coming out and getting its comeuppance, because it's just very it's been marred in controversy since it was started being developed,
right?
And so yeah, we'll see what happens.
I wonder if, because we're in a day and age where sometimes enough energy, enough anger online will sway the decisions of companies. So I wonder if this will be enough to change Sony's mind. I highly doubt it, but I guess we'll see if as we get closer, if they say, you know what, okay, Spider-Man's on all consoles, you guys can quit complaining. I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll still stay stuck in their heels, and maybe it's a legal thing, but I think you mentioned correctly where it's like Spider-Man is in all these different Marvel games, and even very recently. So I don't think it's a matter of they can't do it. I think they're choosing not to do it.
Oh yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, it's always down to choice, isn't it? Even if it's licensing, there's still somebody who's going, no, you can't use that, or whatever. I think we've talked about it in great detail before. I think exclusivity is good. It creates healthy competition, and it creates reasons to have these platforms. But when you're taking something that's on another platform and just making it better, not as in it plays better, it's technically superior on this platform because this platform is a better platform. It's taking something, using something behind the scenes to make that game better on your platform. So what you've now got is you've got two versions of a game, one that is better because it's got an extra character and more content, whilst the other one is literally a lesser version. They both cost the same amount of money, and the people who are getting shafted are the people who prefer to play on Xbox, and that's why I'm more annoyed at the Crystal Dynamics, because they're the ones making this game, and they're the ones sort of having to be like, well, half of our audience are going to get shafted. They're going to get a worse game. They're going to get a lesser game than the people on PS4, and it's just not acceptable. It's just not an acceptable way to think. For me anyway, when you're making a game.
No, I agree. Yeah, and we'll see what happens when this game actually releases and how people interpret what's going on. But yeah, I think you're right, and people are justified in their anger online for sure.